Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyersportsbetting.com. It's the day of the fight. The fight's just happened. It's June 17th, 2017. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. We'll do a more intensive fight video later. Just some thoughts on the 8th round here. And first, let me say to gamblers, you hit on the under 9.5 rounds. You got paid off at a plus 360. So let's think it through. You had people who took Ward simply to win the fight. Playing the odds. If you bet half on Kovalev to win by KO, which is what I thought was going to happen. And if you bet the other half on the under 9.5 rounds, understand Andre Ward just delivered on a plus 360 for you, even if you subtract out the half you bet on Kovalev to win by KO. Right? You actually did better mathematically than you would have done simply taking Andre Ward, the favorite, to win this fight at less than even money odds. Right? Now let me just say this. Couple of thoughts. First, you might hear reports about Andre Ward ending the fight on a body attack. In my opinion, the key punch is a right hand up top that hits Kovalev right on the chin. Right? I believe after that punch, Kovalev is badly hurt. I'm talking about badly hurt. So hurt, Andre Ward is able to then start going to his body. A+ work by Ward going to Kovalev's body. A+. Right? Ward's a talented fighter. But, right? Let me say but. Number one, some of the body punches were borderline. Now, I haven't had an opportunity because the fight happened not too long ago to look at all the angles of the punches, but some of them are borderline. Number two, Kovalev had never been down in the fight. I'm a child of the 1970s where we watched fights where there were multiple KOs in big fights. Right? How many times did George Foreman hit the canvas? Forget getting hurt while standing up. I'm talking about hitting the canvas against George Foreman. Right? Isn't that Kenny Norton against George Foreman lifting himself up using the ropes while the ref is still counting? Didn't we just see a fight between Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua where both guys go down, the fight continues, the champ is dead in the water? The latter half of the 6th round, he's already hit the canvas. Ref lets that fight go on. The champ comes back, wins by KO in a round where the ref allows Vladimir Klitschko to hit the canvas twice. Now here, I know Tony Weeks is an excellent ref, but in a fight like this, where an argument can be made, if you're a guy like me who loves good jabs, that Kovalev is actually winning the fight going into the round. Right? Close fight, but Kovalev is winning the fight going into the round. Then somebody here online in the comment section of this video is going to have to explain to me how a guy who hasn't even hit the canvas once in the fight, right, doesn't get a standing 8, maybe the local rules didn't allow for standing 8s, but isn't even allowed to hit the canvas in the fight. Folks, there's no bad cut that requires an immediate stoppage. Kovalev's eye is not hanging out of his head. He's not even cut, right? He's getting hit with body shots. Now, I agree. He could well have been knocked out later in the fight had the fight continued, right? I believe your head clears better than your body clears, right? He's getting hit with hellacious body shots. But go back and look at the film of the fight. By the way, I have a link to a film of the fight in my favorites folder. I don't know how long that's going to last, but you want to fast forward to the end of the fight. Couldn't Tony Weeks have called it a knockdown since Kovalev is sitting on the ring rope, right? Couldn't Coney Weeks have called it a knockdown, given Kovalev an 8 count, and then allowed the fight to continue, seeing if Kovalev could have cleared his head, because it's really the shot up top that has him semi-conscious. Then Ward comes in and wisely starts hitting him to the body. Right? Let me also say too, what is the harm in letting that fight go another 5 to 10 seconds to see if Ward is able to drop Kovalev? Because keep in mind, Kovalev off the shot on the chin is semi-conscious. Right? The $1 million question is, could Andre Ward have stopped him, dropped him in that round? Whether you're rooting for Kovalev, whether you rooted for Ward, right? And keep in mind, I won on the under, so it's in my best interest for the fight to end at least under the 9.5 rounds, right? But really, this stoppage, in my opinion, is a bit premature, isn't it? In a fight where Kovalev's in the fight, right? It's a close fight. I think even the people who had Ward ahead 4-3 going into the 8th round will concede that that's a close fight. So whether you're rooting for Kovalev and you believe he was robbed in the first fight, lost his titles on that first fight, and this was his opportunity to get his titles back and he deserved a fair shot at it, or whether you're rooting for Ward and you want to erase all doubt about the outcome of that first fight, I believe Weeks' stoppage was premature and deprived all of us. Right? Looks to me like Kovalev isn't allowed to continue in a fight where some of the shots are borderline, right? I mean, borderline. I'm curious to hear if Kovalev says that any of the shots were low. They're borderline, right? There's about a minute left in the round. Some of these shots are borderline. If you're a Ward supporter, you should be disappointed because Andre does A+ work to the body. He's a great fighter. Does A+ work to the body. In that round, Kovalev is badly hurt. He's badly hurt. And Ward was really denied the opportunity, in my opinion, to get a controversy-free stoppage. Right? And I say this as someone who had the under in the fight. So, to sum up, I congratulate Andre Ward. He wins the fight. Keep in mind, that last round, clearly, Kovalev was going to be diminished going forward. I believe Ward parlayed a great shot up top that almost dropped Kovalev, right? Kovalev standing up there, but you could tell he's badly hurt. Great shot up top. Ward comes in, banks body shots, right? Banks body shots. Great stuff. I'm sure if Kovalev had cleared his head, he would have felt those body shots in the later rounds. No question about it. But somebody explain the idea in a sport where you're allowed 10 seconds to get off the canvas. In a sport where you could be knocked down multiple times in a fight and still be allowed to continue. Right? Somebody explain how we've reached a point in boxing where stoppages like this are happening in big fights. Right? A guy's hurt, hasn't been down in the fight, isn't cut, is getting hit with body shots, right? Is struggling there up against the ropes. He's struggling up against the ropes. And you mean to tell me that you're going to stop the fight without allowing it to go a few seconds more to see if Kovalev can clinch, if Kovalev is going to throw punches back, if Ward is going to drop Kovalev? Let me also say this too. Kovalev was unbeaten before he met Andre Ward. He didn't hit the canvas in the first fight. This is the first time in his career that he's been stopped. If Kovalev had a little bit more experience with adversity, right? In boxing, an experienced fighter, badly hurt like he was, off the shot up top, would have, as they say in the trade, taken a knee. Right? You know the way it is. You're badly hurt. The other guy comes in. He's about to unload on your body or whatever. And you take a knee. Take the 8 count. Clear your head. Right? Kovalev, because he had never been stopped, hadn't faced a lot of adversity, had been blowing out opponents. Kovalev doesn't take a knee. So he's trying to grin and bear it the rest of the 8th round. If he takes a knee, it's uncontroversial that the fight continues. Right? Because then he would have gotten back up, gotten the count, would have at least had a time to clear his head. He doesn't take a knee. Ward comes in, starts hitting him with body shots. Tony Weeks, he hadn't been down. Tony Weeks, he's getting hit in the body off at the side. Right? He should have had an opportunity then to either take a knee, get an 8 count, because look at the film carefully. You're going to notice when Tony Weeks comes between them, Kovalev slumps down and is sitting on the bottom rope. Right? He should have gotten an 8 count. This stoppage is just a tad premature. Brilliant performance by Ward, but let's be real. He's not dominating the fight at all before the 8th round. It's a competitive fight. I would argue Kovalev is slightly ahead going into that 8th round. Right? So let me congratulate Andre Ward. Let me congratulate the gamblers who hit on the under 9.5, right? A plus 360 on an over-under. That's not doing too badly. Let me just openly say I was wrong on this fight. If you would have told me someone got a KO in the fight, I would have said to you, what round did Kovalev get the KO in? Right? This also sets up an intriguing moment for boxing, an intriguing moment for Andre Ward. Right? You heard me in an earlier video talk about a light heavyweight champion, Michael Spinks, who actually gained weight to fight a dominant heavyweight champion, unbeaten at the time, Larry Holmes. And Michael Spinks actually beats Larry Holmes and becomes the heavyweight champion of the world. Right now, we're in a day and age right now where Andre Ward wins this fight, body attack inside after he hurts the guy. You have heavyweight champions right now who the public really has question marks about, don't we? Right? Deontay Wilder. Great long right hand. What happens if a guy gets inside on him? Didn't Eric Molina have him hurt? Also, I know a guy like Deontay Wilder is tall and lanky, but he doesn't weigh 250 pounds. Hell, folks, look at the tail of the tape. He doesn't weigh 240. Right now, if you're Andre Ward and you weighed in here at 175, in other words, these guys are big light heavies, right? They're not coming in at 173 or 174 and a half. No, 175. Literally, not an ounce to spare. Where do you go next? If he stays at light heavy, I agree. A fight against Adonis Stevenson, huge. Right? I'll agree. That's a huge fight. Right? There are other guys who are very elite fighters in the area code of 175. James DeGale, to me, is an elite fighter. I think DeGale, Ward, that's an interesting matchup. Right? But let's face it. If you're trying to make history and you're 34 and you understand that the calendar is unforgiving, right? You don't get days back. Right? You're 34 once. Guess what? Tomorrow, no matter how much you work out today, tomorrow, chronologically, you're going to be older than you were today. So if Andre Ward wants to be remembered by history with a little bit extra pizzazz and emphasis, isn't now the time to at least consider taking on, let's say, a Deontay Wilder, let's say a Joseph Parker, unbeaten, right? I think Parker's dangerous, folks. I have a different view of Parker than the rest of the public, right? But Parker isn't as experienced as Andre Ward, right? Think about it. You have older guys with more experience at light heavy, right? Some of these heavyweights are young and inexperienced. So Andre Ward has to think about it. I would skip over Cruiser because I got to be blunt with you. Cruiser looks to me to have some of the toughest fighters in the sport, right? I personally believe Oxlander Usyk's kidding himself. If he wants a heavyweight title, it's there for him. I'm not sure if any of the heavyweight champions beat him, right? So if I'm Andre Ward, I could hang around 175. They're lucrative fights. There's no question about it. I could take a swing at history. I want Ward to look at and think about what Roy Jones did. Another guy who made the jump, became heavyweight champion of the world, right? Ward could, decide not to gain all the weight to fight at heavy, right? I want him to research the weights at which Rocky Marciano fought. You'll find out many of them were at cruiserweight, right? You don't have the cagey, experienced heavyweight champ that you've had in past years, right? Vladimir Klitschko doesn't have a belt. Right now you have guys in their 20s, Parker, Anthony Joshua. I'm not saying for Ward to fight Joshua, right? Joshua's a little bit different than Deontay Wilder and Parker style-wise. But keep in mind, we recently almost had a fight for a heavyweight title between Frez Akendo and Shannon Briggs, right? So Andre Ward has a lot to think about. I know he got handsomely paid here. Sergey Kovalev, regardless of the controversy in both fights, been there, done that. Kovalev doesn't have the moral authority to demand a third fight. And at this point, Andre Ward, who's widely viewed as one of the very best pound for pound, isn't beholden to any sanctioning body, right? At this point, the fight should be for legacy, not for some title, right? He has belts right now, but that shouldn't stop him from venturing outside the division and thinking about, right, challenging history, right? For those who might not realize it, Michael Spinks only lost once, and that was to a fighter named Mike Tyson, right? Then Spinks walked away from the sport, right? We remember Michael Spinks today just like we're going to remember Roy Jones going forward, because he jumped several weight classes and he pulled off history, right? At a time where Ward is 34, is older than some of these younger, less experienced heavyweights, at a time when we have questions about what happens if a guy gets inside on these tall, big skyscraper heavyweights, right? I think it's something that Team Ward should be discussing. If he fights Stevenson, let's be clear here. Stevenson, dangerous southpaw, a lot of power, right? Lot of power. I'm guessing, and by the way, that also, like this fight, would be a fight between two guys who got dropped by Darnell Boone, right? I'm guessing that fight, one way or another, would end by stoppage, right? The under delivered here, I'd be curious to see if they give you a plus 360 on Ward Stevenson. Anyway, that's how I see it. Let me hear from you. To sum up, I congratulate Andre Ward, A+ body work in the 8th round. I had Kovalev leading going into the 8th round. I believe the shot that really stopped Kovalev is the shot up top on his chin before Ward does the A+ body work. I thought Tony Weeks prematurely stopped the fight, right? Ward may have ended it in that round. Weeks didn't give him the opportunity. We're all left wondering what would have happened. Keep in mind, Anthony Joshua, with his heavyweight title on the line, right, in the middle of the 6th round, was given an opportunity to come back in the fight, and he did so. Saved his title. Now here, you're talking about the 8th round, right? We're closer to the end of the fight than the 6th round. There are fewer miles left to travel. And you're telling me that Kovalev, in a fight where he doesn't even hit the canvas, isn't allowed to continue off body shots because he's dazed and confused up against the ropes. And we'll be looking at the tape. It's like the Zapruder film. Is he slumped down on the ropes where Tony Weeks going over there could have said, let me give him an 8 count? Right? Food for thought. Anyway, let me hear from you. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section to this video. And let me say too, I understand most of the people out there who watch my videos thought that Andre Ward was going to win, or at least a sizable percentage of you did. You were right, I was wrong. Still, the under hit, you did get a plus 360. Thanks for stopping by.